Remember how the best part of school was always art class, music class, gym? Those didn't feel like work, they felt like outlets, and as adults, we need those electives too. Little hobbies that are good for us, that feel like free therapy. And before we get into today's electives, I want to reference the Substack post that I recently read by Emily North titled, "What Makes a Person Interesting?" And it's kind of shifted how I think about hobbies as of lately. Her main point is that curiosity is what makes someone interesting. Not the sneakers they wear, not the movies they check off a list, but the way they ask questions, the weird little rabbit holes they go down, the hobbies they tinker with just because they're curious. And she writes that uncurious people can consume all the right things, Oscar films, bestsellers, trends, and still feel bland because they don't chew on anything. Meanwhile, a curious person could recap Love Island like it's epic literature, and suddenly they're fascinating. And that's what made me realize that electives, hobbies, these side passions that we give ourselves, they're basically curiosity in practice. They're what makes us stop being bland and feel more true to ourselves. Emily, in the Substack post, even asked her friends what makes someone interesting, and I really loved their answers. It was things like doing things without needing validation, having cultural traditions, being able to talk about anything with enthusiasm, and loving your own life fully. And I believe that's what hobbies are. When you grow little herbs in your own kitchen window or sketch badly in a cafe, it's not about being good, it's about cultivating curiosity. And I personally believe that's what makes you radiant to yourself and others. Okay, pause. Before we get right into lesson 5, we're on lesson 5 today, I want to do a quick rundown of the last 4 classes. And I also want to say thank you so much to the response you guys have had with my series so far. I may be filming lesson 5 today, but I've only posted the first 2 lessons on YouTube. And it's so lovely to see so many of you commenting down below, letting me know what you're working on. Honestly, I'm someone who's been posting on YouTube for so long, which sometimes could feel like, I'm posting into the void. There was a very small community that I've built on here, and I still appreciate all of you guys that have been there from the start. But having more of a community of people interacting in the comments, it's really inspiring. It's what I've always wanted, where we share ideas and motivate each other to do better. And I'm just so glad and thankful that you guys are enjoying this series in that way. So before I get too mushy, let's dive into a quick recap of what the last 4 lessons were. So in lesson 1, we talked about reclaiming September as your true new year, reset rituals, fall routines, buying candles and setting them as your anchor, saying that's when you start the day is when you light the candle, little things like that. You have to watch the whole first one to really get a rundown on all of that. In lesson 2, we talked about building out our dream life curriculum, and we chose what courses we wanted to take, basically our main goals. We also chose our electives, which are hobbies, activities that we consider to be fun and that we want to work on this fall. And you should definitely check out lesson 2 if you're just starting the series today and you want to watch this lesson, because they connect. Lesson 3 was a short video where it was basically an adult school supplies haul. It was just how to take the whole back to school shopping and apply it to our own adult lives. And lesson 4 was about how to make researching a hobby and getting started on your digital garden. If you don't know what a digital garden is, make sure to check out that video as well to get a full run-through tutorial on how to use it. And yeah, I actually have a whole video on that too. But anyways, let's get into today's class, which is short and sweet because we've already talked a lot about electives, as I mentioned in lesson 2. But today I want us to focus on those electives, picking your hobbies, really making sure you know what you want to work on this fall. As I mentioned at the beginning, hobbies are a wonderful way of expanding our knowledge and making us more interesting people. I've always said that I've enjoyed talking to anyone as long as they're passionate about something. You could be passionate about dirt. Dirt is actually very interesting, which I learned in my degree. But so maybe it's a bad example. But that's what I'm saying. Things that don't look like they could be interesting, the people who are passionate about it will find so many interesting things about it. I recently actually followed this lady on Substack, and she just posts about all the critters she finds in her lovely British garden, like caterpillars. And I learned about galls. I didn't even know what those were. It's like a growth on a plant. I should link her Substack for you guys. It's a small Substack currently. I think she must be new to Substack, but I read everything she had to offer and I just loved it because she was passionate about it. I'm getting off track, but what I'm trying to say is that hobbies are a great way of making us more interesting people to talk to and a great way to explore our passions as well. So I really want to make sure you carve out time in your life to work on hobbies. If you already have hobbies going, that's fantastic. And if you don't, make sure you start carving out some time and trying different hobbies and activities. You don't have to love them all. You just have to start doing them. You can be bad at them and it will still make you a more interesting person. And I think it will still bring a lot more joy to your life as well. So I want you to frame each hobby as a course listing in your course catalog in my Notion template, which I mentioned you can grab in my description below. And I also link it in all my other videos. Lesson 1 is probably the best lesson to go over how that works, but you can also do this using paper and like maybe your notebook from lesson 1 as well. Write down these ideas and come up with what hobbies you want to focus on this fall. And if you're stuck for ideas, that's why I wanted to share this lesson today, to share what some of mine are, to hopefully get some ideas rolling, give you some inspiration. You can take some of the ideas or come up with your own. So what I currently have down is some hobbies that I want to spend more time on. So one, I have Journaling 101 is what I called it. And it's where I'm going to have my morning coffee and I'm going to journal. And it's therapeutic. It's a brain dump. It provides clarity, emotional reset. And I remember I was reading this book called The Artist's Way a while back where the whole practice was to journal every morning. I think it was only 3 pages or something. There was a certain number limit of how much you should write. Oh my gosh, I found it so hard. I realized that like when you're not in the practice of just writing things down and journaling every day, it is kind of a challenge. So I really want to pick that back up again. I don't want to give myself like X number of pages I have to fill out each morning because I think I'll just fall off. I just want to journal when I have my coffee. So short, very short and sweet. Drink my coffee, do some journaling, and that's that. And I'm going to do that for this fall. I also have my elective titled Birdwatching 101. It's my lab outside with my Merlin app. I mentioned this, I think, in lesson 2. A Merlin ID is what I use for bird watching. It's such a cool app. I didn't think I was going to like it so much. It just makes my walks more interesting. I get to like listen to whatever bird sounds around. It tries to pick up and identify what possible birds they could be based on your location. You can take pictures. I love collecting like different types of birds that I see that I maybe wouldn't know the name of. It's just a really fun way, again, to learn about birds. Random. That's how it feels in my life, at least. I didn't think that was something I was going to pick up, but so enjoyable. So definitely check out that app if you want to try this out as well. This other elective I wrote down, but I don't think I'm continuing. If you watch my hobbies video on my channel, I tried to do like a little herb garden. They didn't all live. Honestly, kind of my bad. I freaked out when some of them had like little aphids on their leaves because I was like, how the heck did they get in the house like that? I'm like in a skyrise apartment building. How did those little bugs come into the house? So the ones that had those, I left them outside and they got too hot and shriveled away. So we have a few left. Also, basil is kind of a pain in the ass to keep alive. It needs like so much water. So I'm learning a lot from these little things, but I don't think I want to expand on my herb garden. I'm just going to keep what I have for now and then maybe try again in the spring of next year. So my one tomato plant did have tomatoes and then it died. And then my other larger tomato plant, it looks really healthy, but it has not had a tomato yet. Like I only just see the little flower come out now for it. So I'm like, it's kind of late, buddy. Like we're going into fall season here. It's like not the time. So anyways, that is something I might want to revisit. I have my elective sketching 130. I honestly, I'm just giving them random numbers. This is what I like to call my studio hours in cafes. This is something I've been doing for years, which is just, sketching my surroundings, going out and sketching new ideas or things from my head. And I think it really helps you get away from screens as well when you just, take a traditional sketchbook out with you. I always try to say, don't aim for good, just doodle. Try sketching your coffee cup, try sketching leaves, sketching strangers without awkwardly staring at them, making eye contact with them. And I like to romanticize it by like just taking my little sketchbook around with me. It's like my little portable art class that I like to take throughout life as I do different things. On the train is a great time to take it out. And it's also a good way to have a piece of paper where you can always write down ideas as well. I like to use my sketchbook for kind of everything. And my other elective is Cooking 140. I like to call this one a lab as well. I want to focus on this on Sunday evenings. I think it would be a really good creative sensory activity for me to work on. I'm also kind of terrible at cooking, I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm better at baking more than cooking, but I want to really focus on cooking, not baking, actually. I thought I wanted to bake more things like cookies and stuff. Maybe I will just throw it in there, but I think that's something that I'm not actually finding as challenging. I really struggle to make just like yummy dinners or like non-sugary meals. What is this? Don't know who's texting me. Okay. And when I want to learn how to cook, I want to make it really fun and just like throw on a fun fall playlist and just get in the groove in the kitchen and just feel more inspired with what food I make as well. And yeah, the whole point of electives is you're not getting graded for them. They don't need to be good. You just need to show up. It's even easier than our courses, which are goals. These are just truly for fun. That's really it. And I also like to think of them as free therapy sessions built into our week as well. And they're also making us more interesting people as we work on them. So that's all I have for today's class. I know it was short, but I really wanted you to also just, take the time with this lesson to pick your own hobbies. We all, as humans, love different things. And I think, again, that's what makes us all so great and interesting. Really pick the things that stand out to you or things that you never thought you were going to try, and just make time for that. And that leads me into today's homework, which is to choose at least 2 electives. And I want you to write them in your course catalog in Notion in the section for today's class, or write them on a piece of paper, and then actually schedule them into your week coming up. And for extra credit, my second piece of homework is to actually document it as well, whether you sketch, write down your recipe, maybe create a playlist for it, and maybe, share it on social media. I don't know. Just document it in some ways. I know I like to just take pictures of me trying different things so I can look back on it, and then maybe add some notes to your Notion syllabus or to your journal about how it went. And some bonus homework is to share what you want to take as your electives this fall in the comments, so it helps other people get more ideas and inspiration from each other. You guys have been really great at that in the first 2 videos, so thank you so much again for that. But that's it for the electives week. Very short, very sweet, but probably the most fun part of this fall syllabus. And before we close, I really want to hype you up for next week because it's our final class in this fall series. I wanted to think of it as like a capstone project at the end of a semester. So it's kind of a combination of everything we've been doing so far: building our syllabus, curating our media list, romanticizing our supplies, creating rituals, finding hobbies. It's all going to come together in this very cozy vlog where it's like a cozy fall reset vlog. Think, coffee shops, self-learning, sketching, Notion dashboard, long podcast walks, all kind of framed in my own personal life curriculum. And I want it to be inspiration for you to go and take one cozy day to your week to do the same. But we'll get into that more in that video. So yeah, it's really going to feel like that September, October, New Year energy, school year energy, and making fall feel like a true fresh start. So don't miss it. It's going to be also short, sweet, and cozy, but hopefully it will be like the perfect end to our little semester that we've had together. So I really hope you guys stay tuned, and I will see you all in next week's video. Bye, friends.